Hey Cancer, welcome to your end of year reading for 2023, where we'll take a peek at what you experienced over the past year and see how you're going to start in 2024. So to start with, we have intuition and manifestation. Let's pull another and see what else happened to you. All right, that came out quick. In 2023, and we have highest expression, fulfilling life purpose, soul contract, destiny, co-creating with universe, bliss, and knows worth. Look at you, Cancer. You came into 2023 swinging. Very, very intentional about what it is that you wanted out of life, who you wanted to be as a person, and what you envisioned life to be like for yourself. So I think that 2023 was a year of trusting yourself more, listening to the outside noise less, and figuring out what it is that you want out of your existence in this 3D life that you have in front of you right now. I think that there are a lot of you that started dabbling in manifestation practices or deepened your spiritual practices, incorporating meditation or prayers or, listening to Neville Goddard or, different sort of things like that. But it felt like you were very, very purposeful in figuring out what you wanted your path forward to look like, where you may have had sort of different thoughts here and there over the past few years, but this was the first year that you were like, okay, I want X, I want Y, I want Z. What do I need to do to get there? So it feels very intentional, very, very focused, and there seems to be a lot of hope that was also associated with things that happened for you in the past year. So let's get into some tarot and see what else was going on. We're starting with the Four of Swords for your energy. This is very restful. There is not a lot of activity. This is a card of very, very deep introspection. To me, it's right up there with the Hermit card, where you sort of keep to yourself. And I don't want to say you get lost in your own thoughts, because that sometimes has a bit of a negative connotation. But I do think that for you, Cancers, there was a lot of sort of shadow work that was happening behind the scenes, where maybe you were out and about constantly previously, always had people around. This was more of a, no, I think I'm going to stay in tonight. It feels like there was a lot of getting to know yourself on a different level, on a more spiritual level than maybe you have before. And we have the Page of Wands to clarify. In that process of getting back to yourself, with the Page of Wands especially, it feels like there were times when you were like, what excites me? What is it that I want? What is it that makes me feel good? And you spent a lot of time, I think, exploring some of those ideas, some of those concepts, trying to figure out how to get back to you. Now, one of the lessons that you were learning over the past year is we have the World card. And I love this for you, Cancers, because the world is exactly as it says. Everything is open to you. There is such limitless possibilities. And I think that throughout the process of you rediscovering yourself and tapping into your more spiritual side and being very intentional about your life, you realized exactly how much is out there for you and how much there is that's left for you to explore. And we also have the Five of Wands to clarify. Now, that's not to say that this process was smooth, if we can use that. That's probably the best word that I can come up with now. I do feel like there was a little bit of outside resistance that you experienced, where you came to the realization that in a lot of situations, these things, these new ideas that you wanted to explore, some of the people around you may not necessarily have been on board with that. And so it feels like there was some conflict as you were working through figuring out your next steps your new path, where it was kind of like, well, how come you don't want to come out? Why don't you want to do X? Why don't you want to do Z? Why are you thinking about this? And it's kind of like, well, because I'm trying to figure out what's right for me. I'm trying to do me right now. And I don't think that a lot of people in your life took too kindly to that sort of new way of thinking, to that level of exploration. Now, how this changed you, we have 3 cards that came out. We have the Page of Pentacles, we have the Ace of Pentacles, and we also have the King of Swords. For my Cancers out there, I think that in terms of you growing your stability, and for a lot of you, I do think that this has to do with your finances, those sort of tangible assets that you have in life, that thinking of these new ideas, what came to you through manifestation and you sort of following your intuition and figuring out what it is that you want to do with your life, especially when it comes to making money. I think that there were new opportunities that you wanted to explore, but you had to sort of push back against naysayers and people who were doubting and people who sort of criticized and questioned what this path looked like for you. With the King of Swords, this is you finding your voice and saying, you know what? Maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's not for me, but I'm going to find out. And what I don't need on this path is you saying that I shouldn't, or you saying that I can't, or you saying that this is ridiculous. So the King of Swords is someone who is very thoughtful. They're very intellectual, and they're not afraid to speak up on their own behalf. And so I think that this is something that you exercised throughout the past year as you were sort of taking these baby steps into this new way of being, especially into this new way of making money. It's like, listen, I've thought this through. I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it, especially not from you all. Now, something that may have held you back a little bit over the past year, we have the Hanged Man in reverse. So when the Hanged Man is upright, they're upside down, ironically enough, but they're seeing things from a different perspective. They have this sort of halo of enlightenment around them. And for a little bit of time, I don't think that it was very much, Pisces, maybe a little bit more at the beginning of the year, maybe little bits and pieces throughout this process, but I don't think that this was the overarching energy for you. But I think that it was a little bit challenging drowning out the noise from other people and being able to see things in a different light. At various points, there may have been times that you doubted your path, that you may have been tempted to listen to what other people were saying. But I do think that your desire for the direction you were being pulled in was stronger than what other people were saying. We have that clarified by the 7 of Wands. I do feel as though throughout this process as well, there is this constant feeling of having to defend yourself. And that may have taken a fair amount of energy for you to do. But it's kind of like you're always pushing back against people. It's like, but this is what I want. This is direction that I'm being led in. This is my intuition speaking to me, and things are starting to unfold. Why can't you just accept that? And so it feels like there was this push and pull that you were having to deal with. And so maybe that took a little bit of your time. Maybe that took a little bit of your energy. But I don't think that overall it stopped this process for you. Now, something that you may not have seen or may have ignored over the past year, we have the King of Cups in reverse. Now, Pisces, I don't typically do relationship readings specifically, maybe every now and again, but I do think that in your manifestation and using your intuition and sort of traveling on this new path, there wasn't a ton of attention being given to romantic relationships for you. It was very much about stability and sort of building, especially from a financial perspective. We have that clarified by the 5 of Pentacles and the 9 of Swords, 5 of Pentacles being in reverse. So it feels like there's this sense, Cancer, that all of this evolution, this new sort of start, this exploration that you have, it feels like it almost feels as though this comes in waves, where it's like, wow, I wouldn't have minded having someone to share this journey with, to share this experience with. And so it feels as though every so often there is this little bit of a nagging feeling, this sort of gnawing feeling in your stomach, where it's like, I would like to be a part of a relationship, to sort of celebrate these milestones, to celebrate, to share this excitement with. Um so yeah, I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing, but it feels there's a sensation of, could I have also incorporated that in my journey, in sort of my path forward. I don't think that it was a super priority for you. I don't think that it was something that you focused on as much as figuring yourself out. Now, what you should be proud of, we have the Six of Cups to start. And this is a card of nostalgia. It's very much a card of returning sort of to innocence, right? It's a card of reminiscing. And so I think that when it comes to the journey that you've had over the past year, this is really a sign of you getting back to you. And you've overcome naysayers. You've gotten out of negative energy with the Ten of Swords in reverse, the hurt or betrayal or not so positive experiences that you've had with other people. You have put yourself in a place to heal from that. And you can leave that in the past. So you are moving forward into 2024 with all of these lessons learned, with this better understanding of who you are and what it is that you want out of life. And more than that, the ability to start manifesting those opportunities into your life. Now, when it comes to relationships, it feels like now that you've gotten yourself sort of centered and balanced in the tangible things, in the material things, then maybe 2024 will invite you to start looking at that from a more emotional perspective as well. So I think that, for my Cancers out there, you're giving yourself a very firm foundation to work with. And so coming into 2024, the energy should be even stronger for you to continue building on the platform that you've created over the past 12 months. So that's what I got for you. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you on the next one.